Okay, hello, everybody. Welcome to Immigration Yarns. You know how we do every week. I bring you juicy things about immigrating to Canada. So, like I promised last week, I have somebody very interesting with me. I've admired her for some years now because I've known her for a bit. And I've sometimes followed all of the things that she's done, and she has done amazingly well. She's somebody that I know who has gone ahead to learn the French language just to be able to relocate to Canada. So we're going to be talking to her today and asking her a few questions so that she can show us the way and all of us can come to Canada together, right? Deal. Okay, without wasting so much of time, please welcome with me Chin Ye. Hi,
Hello.
Chin Ye.
Hi. Hello, everyone.
Okay, so let's delve right into it. I'm just going to ask some basic questions and then we can move into the main questions that we have. So how long have you been in Canada, actually?
I've been in Canada for 5 months. I came in October of 2023.
Okay, amazing. So what made you decide to learn French?
Okay, in 2018, somebody sent me a link. It was a Nairaland link, and I was reading. It was about the whole express entry Canada immigration system. So I studied it, I read the whole criteria. I had a lot of criteria and all of that. So I started to work towards getting everything that I needed to put together. There was the education part, there was the language part, right? So because at that time I knew I was done with Nigeria and I wanted to leave. That time things were not even as bad as it was then, but it's like I saw the future. So I cannot even do. I couldn't even do. And this expert entry was so straightforward that somebody like me, I like to do things myself. I'm not a fan of agents. I don't, because a lot of people don't know what they are doing. So I like to do research myself. So when I started researching and then the years started going by, I discovered that I need more than, because I had just BSc at the time. I had to now do a second degree, right? Because the points were already going high at the time. Only BSc would not cut it. So I had to do a second degree. So by the time I did the second degree and at this time I had not even written IELTS. So when I put my score together with the second degree, I saw that my score, with the way things were going, my score wasn't going to get to anywhere to get me an invitation, because the scores were not going lower.
Yeah.
When I simulated my score and everything, I think I was at maybe 460 or thereabouts. Wow. So in 2021, because in 2020 was when I did the additional degree. So in 2021, I now decided that French, so when I looked at other possible ways to increase my score, French was the only feasible way that I could go. So in 2021, I decided to enroll in a French school. I went to Alliance Française in Ikeja, Lagos, and I took their intensive classes. So it was a Monday to Friday class, 3 hours every day. So it was from 8:30.
I'm sorry, I just want us to take a pause there. So that was in 2021, and you took an intensive Monday to Friday, 3 hours daily, which means that you committed 15 hours per week to going to classes. That's not including practicing.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, I just wanted to emphasize that. Okay, please go ahead.
So it was 15 hours every week. It was month to month. I did that for 12 months. Like that was what I did the whole of 2021. And also that 2021, I was also, because I ran a business while I was in Nigeria, and I was doing this while running my business. And also I had clients that I was serving. because I had a retail business and e-commerce business. I was also doing freelancing at the time. So I also had clients that I was doing their social media, writing, their content. So I juggled all of this because I remember there was one time my dispatcher came to pick up items. So he has been coming to pick up items at my French school, like every day. So one day he asked me, Auntie, you don't change address because he was because he wasn't coming to the house again, because I will carry my goods before class. To confirm their order so that the dispatcher will come and pick it up from school for me. So that was what I did all through 2021, right? So my plan in 2021 was, okay, I'll do the school. I'll go to the French school, and then by December I'll be able to write TEF, because I wanted to write TEF. But when December came, as at that time, TEF was like 210,000, and I said, if I use this 210,000, I did not now pass on call. Hey. What am I gonna do? Because 210,000 is not a small time.
No, it's not. It's not.
So what I now did was, so there was another exam. It's a diploma exam. It's a French diploma exam that you have for life, like TEF that you just have 2 years.
For 2 years.
For life. It's called DELF. And I decided it was cheaper. At that time, it was just 15K. So I decided to write that first, for me to have a taste of what it is to write a French exam before I now go to 110,000 naira exam. So I did that in December, and I passed. Even though I know they just dash us scores at some point, but I shall pass. Because
but it was good. It was good morale.
It was good motivation. Like, and I wrote, it was because that particular exam, they have like different levels, right? So so the French has different levels, just the way English has different levels. So there's A1, A2, B1, B2. So for you to write TEF, you need to have B2 competency. Right, that's like intermediate. It's not beginner, intermediate. Advanced is C1, C2. So you have to minimum for you to be able to write TEF and pass is to have B2 competency. And that DELF, it was DELF B2 competency that I wrote, and I passed. So fast forward 2022.
Yeah.
I don't know, for some reason I was dragging my feet, because 210K is not 210K is not an easy money. I don't forget, I'd spent every month I'd spent money like for my friend's school, because we paid every month.
Yeah.
So I was just dragging my feet until sometime in March, April thereabout. I said, okay, let me start preparing for TEF, so that I'll write it. I'll do like 2 months classes, so that I would the plan was by June, ending of June,
to write
the exam. So I started another class online. It was an online class with another school. So I started that one. It was an everyday class too.
Just like a refresher course.
Just like a refresher, and then to prepare me for the exam, because the school I went to, it didn't necessarily prepare you for the exam. It just prepared you for you to learn the language.
General French. Okay.
Yes. So there are technicalities in the exam I needed to understand, how best to answer questions and all. So I needed to do a separate training for that. So I did that. I had that at the end of the 2 months training. They now suspended TEF in Nigeria when I was about to register.
Oh my God.
They suspended TEF. And the reason was not very clear, right? So I was like, okay, what do I do? So there are 2 exams actually for this French thing. There's TEF and there's TCF. Now, TCF, people don't really do TCF because it seemed at the time it was harder than TEF. So people would just do TEF.
Okay.
And TCF, the options I had at the time was, because we did not know when TEF was going to start again. Yeah. Yes, and at this time, they had already announced, I think IRCC had announced that they will resume draws, because draws were paused from 2021 until
Yes. Yes.
2022. So they had announced at this time that, oh, they were going to resume draws by June.
Resume draws.
So I had two options. Either I go to Cotonou or any other neighboring French
Country.
language speaking country, or write the TCF. And the TCF, they didn't at that time, they didn't do it in Lagos. The only place that did it was in Port Harcourt, was the Alliance Française in Port Harcourt. So it's either I go outside the country or I go to Port Harcourt. So I had to weigh my options. So I had this friend then. We two were in the same boat because we wanted to write the exam at the same time. So she was like, she got a contact in Cotonou, and they made inquiries for the exam and all of that. So she told me, okay, this is what it cost in Cotonou. It was even cheaper when we even do the exchange rate, not the exchange rate
conversion. Yeah.
Cheaper at that time. It was like 160K, because that time $1 was one sefa was in at that time. So it was 160K, while in Nigeria it was 210K. So when she told me, that she wants to go ahead and pay, for some reason I was a bit skeptical, because first of all, she just connected with somebody that she didn't really know. What if the person just takes our money and go? Because going to Cotonou was another kettle of fish.
Yeah.
I said, well, she should just go ahead, and that I would just go and do TCF in Port Harcourt. So that means that I had to start afresh, like start preparing for TCF.
Preparing for TCF, yes.
Were different. Well, the same language, but the structure was different. So, and at that time, I called one of my tutors, and I forgot to mention that aside the everyday classes that I had, I also had a private tutor that I paid every month. So I spoke with one of my tutors about the TCF, and I told him, how far now? What do you think? He said I should go for it, that he knows somebody that did it and passed, that I should go for it, because it was difficult, because the exam structure, it was just like, for example, the listening of the TCF is like, for TEF, you hear most of the questions, you hear the recording twice. But for TCF, you hear it once.
That's like the IELTS.
Yeah, just like IELTS. So if you don't hear that first time, that's
gone. Yes.
And imagine me, that is language that I learned. Like
that you're struggling with, you're just learning.
I'm struggling with. So I said, okay, let me do the TCF. So I contacted the Alliance Française in Port Harcourt. They gave me an account number to pay, and I picked a date for August. So this time was around June. So I picked a date for August, booked my flights. After pay, only for me the next day, they now told me, because okay, so the TCF, I paid on the day of the deadline. That day gone. It was around like 4 p.m. that I paid. So I asked the lady, I said, this one I'm paying today. Will you people register me? They say, yes, don't worry. Only for me to wake up the next day with a message from this lady. She said, that the TCF portal closed. They could not register me for August. That either they move me to September, or they give me a refund. I say refund is an option. September, okay. Move me. I'd already booked flight for that.
Oh my God.
So I said, okay, move me for
September,
no problem. So I had to now reschedule my flights, paid extra, reschedule. So September, I did the exam. October, the results came out, and the way I got the results, because I couldn't go there to go and pick up, so I had to call them. They had to call out the results for me on the phone. So you know how that let me eat until I see it before I really know that.
That is what I got.
So, but even though I was happy when she told me the results, I was like, when it gets here. So I arranged for pickup for them to pick it up from me with DHL. So they picked up, and then when my result came, I was like, thank God. So
Yay!
all my money did not waste.
Yes, so all the time, all the money, all the dedication, it paid off.
As in, it really paid
Oh my
off.
God.
Yeah, that was my journey. So when I put the score and the result and everything, and then my score moved from 446 to 500 and I think 12 or so. Yeah.
Wow.
Oh no, 508.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Just wow. Okay. So I have a quick question. How much of French did you know before you decided to go on this journey? Like, did you have any interaction with the language at all?
The French I knew was primary school French. Bonjour, ça va. That was it. Because that was the last time I knew French when I was in primary school. So that was it.
Mm-hmm.
That was
okay. Wow. So, well, I did have a lot of questions, but you seem to have answered some of them in the course of your story. I mean, because like my next question was going to be, so where did you learn from? And I believe you already answered that. Alliance Française, and then you had a private tutor, and then you went to learn the technicalities of the exam itself. Okay. So again, how long did it take you to learn? We're talking a span of a year and a half.
Yes. So a year, let's say a year and 8 months, because I wrote the exam in September of 2022.
And so, then you started Alliance Française in the January of 2021.
2021. Yes.
Okay. So I know you wrote the TCF. I think TEF is back in Nigeria now.
Yeah, TEF came back last year.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So, but this TCF, the one that you wrote, how easy was it? Okay, so maybe my question is kind of like twofold. Like, okay, how easy was it? And then I know you had your fears before you went to write it. Did it meet up like that fear that you had? Was it valid, or was it easier than your fear, or was it harder than your fear?
It was I don't even know how to describe it, because I left the exam hall. I was like, you know how you just sigh,
Mm-hmm.
What did you gonna do? So
it looked like it was a waste of money, right?
Because I was like, I calculated my flight tickets. I calculated the money I paid for the exam. I was like, are you sure you have not? Are you sure you've not dashed people, this company's money on top of this exam you want to write? Because
oh my God.
Like I said in earlier, one of the most difficult parts for me, it could be different for other people because we all have different strengths.
Yes.
Right? So one of the most difficult things for me was the listening. The listening aspect, the fact that you just hear the recording once, and if you don't pick it, you have to just move on. You have to. So that was the most difficult.
Based on that, I mean, I'm not trying to not to take anything away from that point, but even with the English IELTS, is that the listening plays once you don't hear it. I mean, speaking, you have a bit of control because you're the one talking. You can control what you say. When you're reading, you can read and read it again. When you're writing, you control what you're writing, right? But that listening is, and correct me if I'm wrong, isn't that the one that you need to score the highest to be able to get that CLB that you're looking for?
Yes, at the time it was listening and speaking. Yeah,
because even with the English, like on listening is the one where you have to score the I, because they need to be sure that you can understand, like you can hear and understand the language, right? Okay, so people, please pay attention to listening, whether you're writing English, whether you're writing French, pay attention to listening. It will do you a world of good. Okay, again, I know you mentioned that earlier. I just wanted us to put a bit of context into it. How did this French language affect your point in the poll? how much gap, how much more points did it give you?
So it gave me an extra 62 points.
Ooh.
Yes, so there's 50 points for being bilingual because I wrote IELTS. And funny thing, I wrote IELTS 2 times.
And that is supposed to be the language that we grew up with.
Exactly. I wrote it twice. I'm like,
okay.
So,
okay. And sorry, let me take a pause a bit. And I've heard a lot of people complain about IELTS. Like people fail this, people fail. And I said to them, look, the problem we have as Nigerians is that we commonize IELTS. It's an English exam. Just the same way you went to spend another 2 months learning the technicalities of the exam of French. I've said to people that, look, IELTS has technicalities. There's a way the question has to be answered, especially when you're speaking, when you're writing, when you're listening. There is a way the questions have to be answered, and you have to know it. Just the fact that you speak English does not cut it.
Yes.
It doesn't. Otherwise, you will write it again and again and again and again. Okay. So 62 points just because you wrote the French exam.
Yes, because there's 50 points for bilingual, for being bilingual, and then the additional 12 points for the language itself.
Okay. So if there's this one advice that you would give to somebody out there who's considering, should I go for it, should I do it, what would that advice be?
So I'll say for me, it was totally worth it. It was worth it because I had a goal. I knew that it was either this road or no other road. Okay, because there are some times I will wake up tired. I don't want to go anywhere. I don't want to go to school. And when I remember, okay, you have to go to this school because first of all, you have paid money.
Secondly, money.
Secondly, this is like, I didn't have, even though I was looking at other plan B in case this friend thing doesn't work, but I knew that whatever road I decide to choose, if I want to say, okay, let me try PMP and not the express entry federal invitation. If I wanted to do PMP, there are provinces that you get, if you for their own draws and their own score system, you will get points for having French. Okay?
Oh yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Yeah. So for me, it wasn't easy. And I had to constantly remind myself of the end goal, right? And learning the language, first off, if you want to learn the language for the purpose of TCF or TEF or for Canada immigration, first of all, fall in love with the language. Because if you say, okay, I'm just learning this language because I just want to write the exam and go, you'll be frustrated. Because at some point when your teacher is teaching, you cannot hear, you'll be like, I beg, I don't have energy. Fall in love with the language first. And while you're learning, don't always put it at the back of your mind that, oh, you're just learning for the exam. Because at the end of it, because if you do that, if you see that there are some points where you get stuck, you don't understand these things. And because you're stuck, you're not able to move forward. French is a very interesting language with so many rules. And it can be very difficult to put those rules in your head because they'll tell you, oh, you can say this, but you cannot say that. Why? No explanation. You just cannot say it like that. So you just have to have it on the back of your mind that, okay, you cannot say anything like that. You don't just, this is how the French people do it. Just
follow it like that.
Follow it like that. Enjoy the language. It's a beautiful language. It's a fantastic language. Then immerse yourself in the language. It wasn't easy to, the only French I heard at that time is when I go to class, and I had 3 hours of class. Except the times when, okay, I had a tutor that my tutor wasn't every day. It was like, because I couldn't pay him every day. It was like 3 days a week, and the classes were just 1 hour. So the only time I have that I hear French for a long time is when I'm in school and we're in class, 3 hours. So imagine learning a French language in an Anglophone country. When you leave class, there's nobody you're speaking with.
Nobody else to speak with.
Nobody. So I have to start speaking to my family members, whether they hear or not, what I learned in school. They'll say, I beg, let's hear what though. You're not the first person that went to go and learn French. I said, it's you people that know this money that I'm spending, this knowledge I'm getting, it is not gonna waste. But you people are going to hear it. You people don't have a choice. Except you will leave the house for me. People cannot leave the house for me. So that's what I did. And I listened to music. I changed my phone language to French.
Okay.
I listened to music like every day on my way to school. I listened to podcasts. There was some podcasts I always listened to like every day on my way to class. Then I'm not really a movie fan, so I didn't really watch. Even though they say, "Oh, watch French movies," but I try when I feel up to it. I'm not really a movie person because I go to the cinema and sleep off in the cinema. So just pick activities that you like to do. If you like to listen to music, listen to French music. If you like to watch movies, there are French movies. You can try Netflix. There was one website I subscribed to. I subscribed to just once, Lingo Pie. So they have French shows, series, movies on there. So it helped me too at the time.
Okay, thank you so much for your time, Chinye. We really, really, on behalf of our viewers, I do appreciate you taking the time out to come have this conversation with us. Thank you so much. And I really, really hope that there will be somebody out there who will take advantage of this knowledge and this information and do what they need to do. Okay, I will be wrapping up right now. Okay, so you guys have heard it. There is no walk in the park. I say it all the time. Canada is not that country that you wake up in January and you say, I want to be relocated to Canada by June. It will not work. I don't know how, I don't know which process you want to go through, whether express entry, whether the student route, whether even if it is visiting. You can't just wake up in January and say, I'm going to Canada in June. Except you already have an existing visa. It does not work. You guys know, I say it to you all the time. So go back to the drawing board, put a plan together. What do you want to do? When do you want to do it? How do you want to achieve it? And then get to work. Canada is right now opening up a lot of opportunities for French-speaking people. There's the Francophone program starting up in the fall, pardon me. So you might not be able to take advantage of that right now this year, especially if you don't already speak French. If you already speak French, beautiful. Go learn the technicalities of TEF or TCF. Write your exam, have your score ready. Create your profile in the pool already. If you don't, then maybe you want to consider it. Say, okay, what do I already have? How do I improve my points? Interestingly, what Chinye was saying, it was something that I also had to do. Take a look at the points that I had at the time that I was applying. No, it wasn't this bad. I think the points that I got ITA with was 460 something, if I'm not mistaken, right? But I mean, I got my ITA in 2019, so you cannot compare that to the 2021 or the 2022. I know the numbers have gone crazy, but do something. Research something. If you need guidance, send us a DM. I say that all the time. Send us a DM. We will be happy to walk you through what you need to do. Okay, that is where we pull the curtain for today. And until next week, we will be delving into the STEM, which brings us to the end of the trades program. So we're talking about STEM next week, and I will see you. So if you know anybody who is in the science technology, I will see you next week. And that is where we pull the curtain. Bye.